afternoon, guys. I don't know if it's just about me or have all of you guys ever, from time to time, have this awkward experience. You're explaining something to your friend or you're having this debate with your friends, and you've got this brilliant idea in your mind, but when you're just about to say it, there's like this lump in your throat, stuck. And with this splendid point in your mind that you want to make, you just can't find any proper vocabularies, put them into sentences, and express yourself in the way that you want. And the conversations always end up like, you know what I mean, right? And recently, these moments are happening more and more often in my daily life. Honestly, I was very nervous about coming on the stage and giving this talk to you guys. So days before, I turned my friend for help, wishing that she could give me some confidence. And this friend of a typical Generation Z who always wears street bands of hoodies and wears his headphones and checking his teeth. She replied me like this. So that was me shaking, and she replied, LOLBAE NBCS TTYL. So the time I saw this, I was like, what? As confused as you guys, they're actually really hard for us to understand. And then I realized it was actually not just about my friend. It was a typical phenomenon, especially among my generation. Um, in an investigation carried out by China Youth newspaper, among 2002 young people who were investigated thinks that their ability to use language are getting poorer. And not long ago, the Xinhua news agency has published an article in which the writer has borrowed a medical term to describe the syndrome. The aphasia. And I think something is wrong with my phone. Was a medical term that was originally described a patient who are unable to express or use language normally due to a damage in the brain. But in these circumstances, our speechless moments are gradually become the modern version of the aphasia. The internet buzzwords and memes are gradually construct our online conversations. We use them like sort of language experts, but when it comes to daily life talks, we suddenly turn into these unqualified language users who cannot express ourselves. But why? How exactly does these words, accounting a gradually big part of our discourse base, and how exactly does them make us aphasiac? The instant messaging app, as we're all familiar with, WeChat, Line, Skype, and a bunch of apps like them. When we are using them to communicate with others, it is the text that mainly carries the message we want to express to others. But texts sometimes are just not that accurate because when we're using merely punctuations and words to express ourselves to others, a lot of key information were removed. The facial expressions, the body languages and gestures, the tones, and even the atmosphere between two people. They're missing, and this makes us online conversations very easily to be misunderstood. And that's why the memes are getting more important, because although they cannot be total substitutes for face-to-face talks, these images, they contain visual signs of emotions and feelings that could compensate the missing information of our face-to-face conversations. And the internet buzzwords and abbreviation of words, they're usually generated from a specific context. So while we're using these words, they can easily remind people of the context that they were produced, giving the people who are using them a sense of belonging and familiarity. And whether it is a celebrity committing a crime or it is just pure complaint about your life. As soon as I show this picture for you, they just can't grab people's attention and like stroke this chord among the people who use it. As social media has more than ever enhanced the interactivity and immediacy of our online communication, these words once being generated and come into notice of the public, they can be disseminated in a tremendous scale in just a touch on the screen. So these easily to understand and usually brand washing words are starting to become trends on the internet. And then they are starting to be celebrated as kind of linguistic orgy of the group. But everything seems fine, right? I mean, this use of these words improve the accuracy, the convenience, and even the entertainment of our online chats. Why is it called an aphasia? Is this situation being exaggerated, or is it really a problem to everyone? Yes, I think probably in the casual daily talks in our lives, it doesn't seem like a problem. But when it comes to circumstances that require your elaborate and logical expression, the problem suddenly appears. For me, I am an international student of the Faculty of Humanity and Social Science, and as you may know that our humanity and social science people are famous for or endless reading and tons of essays. So one of the most painful, torturous experience for me is during the final essay, you go to library early in the morning, you pick up your favorite spot, you took out your computer, and you say to yourself ambitiously, I have to finish my essay today. And for the next following hours, you just sit there, staring at the blank Word document and wondering about what to eat for lunch. And when it's the lunch time, you realize you just wrote nothing. Because in these circumstances, you cannot use memes and buzzwords, and suddenly you've got nothing to say. So, yeah, I've got nothing to say right now. I'm feeling a little bit nervous. The convenience, uh, the the convenience, the context, and even the entertainment think they're reasonable and they seems just like totally justified. But when we step further and reflect back on them, the invisible trap of social media gradually emerges. The abbreviation and memes, they are generated from a specific context, but in the process of transmitting them and reusing them in different contexts and places, the original and precise meaning of the expressor are obscured. And as the abbreviations are uh, gradually accounting a more discourse space in our daily life, it invisibly carve out another space, which leading to a widening language gap between users and non-users, and causing more and more confusions and separations in public discussions. Um, I'm not saying here that these words and memes are totally poisonous and should be totally forbidden, because they're actually very conformed to the media we're using now. And it would be so elitism and unrealistic if we just ban them simply. I love how these words and expressions change our way of communication, and I love how social media has brought us the way of communicating online. And I also love how the buzzwords and memes are breaking a time and distance barrier to bring us together and give us this sense of familiarity. But what we should be cautious about is that the unquestioning use of these words may cause us huge problems. Are our inner voices submerged by these monotonous words? Are our ability of deep thinking deprived by the fast-changing trend? I love convenience, but I also love the sparks that was generated from real-life conversations and rational debates after repeated scrutiny. And as Aldous Huxley said, Brave New World was not that they were laughing instead of thinking, but that they did not know what they were laughing about and why they had stopped thinking. So reflect on this use of these words and memes. I thought, through language, we make sense of this world. But after all, language should always be a tool that reflects our thinking, and it should not be the burden that pulls us back. Thank you.